Of the Seedling Stage Knitting Podcast. My name is Athena. I am a Chinese knitter living in Vancouver, Canada, and this is my little space on the internet where I chat all about my knitting projects and some other crafts that I dabbled along the way, specifically crochet and sewing, and bits about my life. So it's been 2 months since I filmed my last episode, so I have accumulated quite a lot of stuff to chat about today. If you're new, welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy my content, and feel free to bring your own knitting or crafting projects. I'm all here to share my passion towards crafts. And I'll get started with today's episode. So let me start with what I am wearing today. I am wearing a matching set of clothing plus a shawl. So let's start with the camisole here. So these are quite plain clothing compared to my usual styles. The top, the camisole is camisole number 6, and the matching shorts is shorts number 1. Both of these, the designers are my favorite things, Knitwear, who is famous for designing this kind of simplistic style Nordic clothing. And I'll talk about the shawl in a moment. There's not much to say about in terms of the knitting. These are quite simple projects. I can chat a little bit about the yarn. Both of these I knitted with a Chinese yarn. I think in my last episode I was knitting the shorts, and so I probably talk a little bit about it, but just so that not to bore you too much, I'll quickly say them. I used 1 strand of a cotton linen blend yarn from the Chinese brand Jie, and that's their Hefeng yarn, and another strand of light fingering weight lamb's wool yarn, also from the same brand Jie, and the name of the yarn is Chuyan. I recently visited back to China back in summer in June, July, and I was able to brought a lot of Chinese yarn here, and I also had some sort of and I also had a collaboration with this brand, so they got to send this yarn to me for free. In turn, that I make some post photos, videos about them. So that's for that, but they are not selling to the English knitting world, so I don't know if you are not in China how you could get this yarn. So yeah, that's the thing. The original design, the designer knitted with the knitting or olive merino and silk, stranded them together, and I got the idea of combining 1 strand of summer yarn and another strand of the woolly yarn. It makes a very lovely fabric because the wool, it gives you that bouncy, warm, elastic feeling, while the summer yarn, she used silk, I used cotton linen blend. This kind of summer fiber, it gives you the stretchy, drippy, a cooler feeling, and to knit them together, it's a very interesting balance. So I just get the same idea, and I don't think I've knitted something by combining these 2 kinds of fiber together, so it's very interesting to try. The gauge is pretty large. It was knitted with 4mm needle, but just because of how much skin it was exposed, so it's still quite summery. So to be honest, I decided to knit this matching set because I wanted to have a loungewear set for the summer. Because I work from home, so I spend a lot of time at home, and I want to have some opportunity to wear my hand knit stuff. And so my other hand knit summer wear, it can be a little bit fancier, and I just want to wear something simpler. And also, I've never knitted anything for the like trousers and pants, so I wanted to learn the construction of shorts by knitting this pattern. And why not just have a matching set? So that's why I picked the pattern. But since I got the yarn at the end of the summer, like in July, I only finished knitting this matching set by now. So as the title of this episode says, it's knitting for the end of summer. I guess I can still wear them, like as what I'm wearing now, wearing it on top of a plain t-shirt. The shorts, it's interesting because I'm not feeling too cold even wearing it at home. I had my home temperature set at 20 degrees Celsius, so we had a little bit of heating going on. So in this weather, it's not too bad. And now that I added my wool shawl, so it's actually pretty warm. I think in a bit I'll be sweating. And I can also wear it without the t-shirt, the camisole. I just wear the camisole and with a shirt or a flannel shirt, so it can get warm and pretty nice. So I think it's a nice functional piece. I can talk a little bit about the construction. It's very simple. The camisole is knitted top down. You cast on from the top. You knitted the triangles while doing some shaping, and then link the front triangles, the front top pieces, and the back. You call that yoke, front yoke and back yoke together, and then just knit in the round. I didn't knit as long as instructed. It's probably like 22 centimeters ish. I think it's like a nice cropped length. It's at it stops where the waistband is for the shorts. So I think it's a good length for me. Yeah, and as for special technique, you would guess that this is some sort of I-cord, but it's not. It's really just a regular rolled edge. There's like three stitches of knit stitches, and after you knit them, it just rolled back naturally. It forms this kind of I-cord look, and I think it's a nice design feature. It's easy to knit, and the effect is just as good. And you're not, like, if you knit I-cord, it might be too tight. It can get quite structured for the shoulder strap. So yeah, overall I think I enjoyed knitting the pattern. There's not too much thinking involved. The shaping of the front yoke and the back yoke are different. Currently I'm actually wearing the back as the front, so the actual back shaping is deeper, just because I'm wearing t-shirts below it, so I'm not too worried about exposing skins. I can show you, like, the back. It's the V neck is higher. So if I'm just wearing the camisole alone, I would actually wear the front as the front. So that's about the camisole. And at the bottom, you need to bind off very loosely. I actually upped a needle size. I think I used 4.5mm hook to do the bind off, and even on 4.5mm I still bind very loosely so as not to so that I can still wear it. So I think that's all pretty nice. And as for the shorts, I think I talked about the construction in the last episode. It started with the bottom, you knit 2 tubes, and then you join the 2 tubes, and then knit in the round, as well as doing some decreasing shaping for the waist. And then finally at the back there are a few short row, German short row rows, so as to raise the back waist a little bit to have a better fit for the bum. And then you do a double folded edge and you insert the elastic band. Yeah, and that's the shorts. I think they are pretty wearable, and I love the color, how much marled it is. You can see the 2 yarn I picked is 2 different shades of green, and I think they marled beautifully. And that's pretty much about the shorts and the camisole. Nice pattern, pretty quick to knit, and pretty mindless. There are a little bit of the interesting things, but overall I think it's a nice, easy, quick pattern. And I have quite a lot of leftovers, and I have like almost 2 balls of the wool and almost 2 balls of the linen cotton, and I'm already planning stuff for them. If you are a long-term subscriber, you know I love the green color, and somehow earlier in this year I knitted a lot of purple stuff. Purple is my second favorite color, and now I'm getting back to my comfort zone to knit more green stuff, and I'm very happy about it. And my plan, I think I will knit some sort of bra with this. I got the wrap bra pattern by Naked Knit, so I might knit that. Or alternatively, I designed and knitted this fine bralette earlier, but using 4mm needle. I wasn't too happy about it. It feels a little bit thick. It looks pretty nice, but I think it might be better if I reduced that to a thinner gauge. So I might redesign and reknit this pattern in this yarn. This is like a sports weight fingering, heavy fingering weight yarn. So that is another thought. And I also have these wool, lamb's wool, light fingering weight yarn, and that brings me to talk about my shawl obsession. So I showed this last time in my last episode. It's actually not knitted by me, but by my dear grandma. She gifted this to me in my last trip when I went back to China. And before I was not a shawl person at all. I've never knitted any shawls. I didn't understand why people are into shawls. Like whenever I see in Ravelry there are shawl patterns pop out in the first few places, I'm all very confused, like why people would want to knit shawls. And now I own this shawl, and recently I got some opportunity to wear it. I find it very easy to wear and looks pretty nice and looks very pretty. So especially like usually when I go out, I sometimes wear backpacks. So I usually just like put the big triangle in the front and wear it like that. And I do a lot of biking so the wool at the front can cover the incoming wind, and it's also not obstructing any of my backpack, and it has that like warm, cozy vibe. So I was totally sold on shawls, and then I started looking a lot of shawl patterns, and I have some inspiration of shawls, especially these lace shawls. I think like my usual knitted sweaters are very colorful. I like color work a lot, and I find this kind of plain color lace shawl easier to match with my colorful sweaters. So I am mostly into complicated lace shawls. So this is a problem for me when I want to knit, learn something new. I want to try the hardest technique, and then I conquered the hardest technique, then I'm probably done with it. Like I feel like in my knitting life I must have conquered like the hardest color work, the hardest brioche, the hardest quibbling, and now the hardest lace shawl. So I've looked at a few patterns, and also so I have these 2 balls of lamb's wool yarn, which I think are perfect for lace shawls. So I started looking at shawl patterns and books and inspirations, and I have some awesome books I want to share with you, and some knitting plans. So my first goal, I want to recreate my grandma's shawl. Actually, it's my grandma's plural apostrophe s shawls, because both my grandma, my paternal grandma, and my maternal grandma, they both had knitted a shawl like this. I'll let my mom take a photo of my maternal grandma's this version of the shawl. It's very similar, but there are little details like of these lace details that were just different. And I want to recreate these, but the construction was a little bit hard to figure out, and I was able to find a similar shawl pattern from the Japanese knitting magazine Kato Dama, a very early issue. It was in 2012. It's their issue number 153. There is a design by Kazep Kobo or Yoko Hata. It's the same designer, different names. So I was able to find the pattern from my friends who have a collection of Kato Damas, and from that pattern, it seems like it's knitted like so, like from the triangle. You cast down from the middle of the triangle, and then you do the lace, and you do the yarn over to add stitches, and then form this big triangle with garter stitch. So it's just plain garter stitch, and then you do the so I have to talk like this, I'm like a bride. And then you do the edging, do the lace edging, as well as knit the edge 2 stitches together. And so that way you do the lace, the beautiful lace edge, the diamond shaped lace edge here to here, and then finally you do the longer edge, do the longer lace edge in the same way. I don't know if you can see, this must be where my grandma did the connect the 2 edges by probably pick up a stitch on the main triangle and knit the edge stitches together with the main triangle, and then attach the edges while you knit them. So that's my guess on how my grandma knitted her lace shawls. I think it's a very similar construction to this Shetland lace shawl designed by Yoko Hata from the Keto Dama magazine. And also I've been looking at a few other lace shawl patterns or books. While I'm looking at Shetland lace shawl, I came across Elizabeth Williamson's profile on Instagram. Her handle is Elizabeth Williamson Knitting, and she is a master of Shetland lace shawls. You should go check out her Instagram profile. Oh, it's so much more complicated than this mostly gutter stitch shawl. So that's a source of inspiration for me. I also came across a book called Knitting Lace of Estonia by Nancy Bush. And this is a book of Estonian lace shawls, also very complicated lace. And this book has recently been translated to Chinese, so I'm looking forward to get a copy of the Chinese version of this. And another book is a Russian lace knitting. It doesn't have an English translation, but it recently been introduced to China, so it has Chinese translation. It's called Orenburg Downy Shawl Secrets of Russian Knitting. I see some like Etsy shop who's selling the original Russian version. It's all like symbols, so if you're comfortable reading charts, you might be able to use it. And the patterns from that book are also so complicated, so delicate, so interesting. So I'm looking forward to get a copy of the Chinese version of that book as well. So many shawl inspirations, especially now that I'm quite full on sweaters. It might be a good opportunity for me to jump into some lace knitting, and I'm sure my moms and my aunties, they will appreciate this kind of shawl. It's a nice style for them to wear as well, so it would be a good gift knitting project. So let's see, I will start with this leftover balls of lamb's wool yarn and probably knit a reimagined version of my grandma's shawls and see how that works for me, and then possibly find some complicated lace shawl patterns from the books that I've just mentioned. So I'm very excited to cast down those projects when I finish the current projects that I have on hand. And now let me move on to my other finished objects from the past 2 months. As we are still on the page of my grandma's beautiful laces, I think I showed in my last episode of this beautiful wrap sweater by my grandma. And this is not my finished object, but this is. So I really like the lace pattern from my grandma's vintage lace knitwear. So I love it so much. I copied it and knitted a little scarf. This is a simple lacy scarf designed by me and my grandma probably. And the yarn is very nice. It's the Qiviuk. It's the Qiviuk yarn from the Wind Valley Muskox yarn shop. And this beautiful lime green color specifically, this ball of yarn was gifted by dear JIngyi. JIngyi is a fellow Chinese knitter, podcaster. She lives in United States. She traveled to Banff town last month. So this yarn shop, Wind Valley Muskox yarn shop, it's only in Canada, in Banff town, and it is made with the and it is made out of the fiber from the muskox, who only lives in that area, and it is the little down feather, not feather, it is the little inner layer of their fiber, so it's very, very soft and it's very luxurious but also very expensive. And here I find the yarn label. She traveled to Banff town with her family and she bought this ball of yarn for me, and on her way back she traveled to Vancouver, so we were able to meet up at my new home. It was pretty nice to meet fellow podcasters. And I got this beautiful ball of yarn, so I decided to make something beautiful with it. So this specific blend is their Majestic blend. It's 15% of Qiviuk and 80% of extra fine merino and 5% of silk. This yarn store, they also have some other blends featuring more of the Qiviuk, but I think this in my opinion, it's their best blend. It's a very well balanced because the Qiviuk fiber is very fuzzy, and merino is less fuzzy because the fiber is shorter. And with this blend, it also brings down the price, but I think it's a very nice balanced blend to knit beautiful laces, because the extra fuzz from Qiviuk won't cover the holes of the lace too much, and also the little bit of the silk make this yarn a little bit shiny, just the right amount of shininess. So I think it's very, very nice. And it's one ball is 28 gram and it's about 200 meters, and I knitted this little scarf exactly. I think I just have like about 1 or 2 grams of leftovers there. The construction wise is not too difficult. It's cast on the bottom, knit a few rows of accord, and then you do the increasing and to form this lace pattern. And when you have 3 pattern repeats, you just keep knitting until the length you want. Or I waited when I finished increasing, so I know how much how much yarn I used when I knitted up to here, and then I keep knitting when I only have the same amount that I used to here, or to knit about here. I started decreasing, so there's almost no weight to use up this ball of yarn. And I changed a little bit of my grandma's lace. So in her pattern, the little down arrows are closer together. When I knit them up, I feel like it was too much holes. So I added an extra 2 extra rows in the middle between the 2 down arrows. There's modification and there's heritage, so I think it's a pretty nice. It's a nice design, and I have many ways to wear it. I can wear it to wrap it around my neck 2 times, or 1 time, or like that. And if I have long hair, like if I have a ponytail, I can probably use it as a hairband, but I don't. I have short hair, and I can probably wear it like this as well. It's a little bit weird, so I usually just wear it as a little scarf. I am also in the meantime designing some other versions of this because I grabbed more of this yarn on my own trip to Banff. So right now I am knitting another version of this using this colored yarn. It's the same type of yarn and a different color. I'm thinking of gifting this to my mom, my aunties, my mom-in-law, one of them. So it's in my gift knitting pile when I go back to China next year. And for this one, I'm doing a narrower version of this little scarf, so I only have like 2 down arrow patterns. But other than that, it's pretty similar. I also want to design a hairband version where it's just like one pattern repeat of this, and I think I can probably get 1 hairband and 1 narrower scarf with 1 ball of this yarn. So yeah, although it's only a 28-gram ball, there's a lot of yardage in it. And I also got a yellow color of this yarn over here. My mom wanted some yellow or like ginger color to match with her clothes, so that's definitely for her. And that's the little bag and the brochures that I got from the yarn store. It's in Chinese. So let me talk about my travel to Banff town. So I traveled to Banff town and that general area with Yuran and her family. Yuran is a long-time friend. I filmed an episode with her in my episode 13, so a long time ago. She lives in Alberta, Canada. We traveled in end of August to Banff together, and it was such a nice trip. So we visited Banff town first, and on my second day since arriving, we hurried to the yarn store, and I'll insert some photos of the yarn store there. It's more than a yarn store. They also sell hand knitted clothing and probably machine knitted clothing made with the Qiviuk yarn as well in the store. So it's a very fancy yarn store, and they have a Qiviuk a muskox model. It's kind of cute and very interesting place to go. We went up on the gondola on the Sulphur Mountain, and on the top of the Sulphur Mountain we can overlook the whole Banff town. We went there fairly early in the morning, and the rising sunshine shined through the whole city. It was very beautiful, very fairy tale-ish. And during that day, I was able to wear my hand knitted sweaters. I picked my wall garden sweater. I'll put a photo there. It was very sweet. And in the afternoon, we went to the 2 lakes. We went to Lake Maureen and Lake Louise. We took some very nice photos there as well. And on the second day, we went to the Columbia ice field. It was much colder on the ice field, but it was so special. We were able to see the blue ice, and we went on to the icebreaker tour. So they have those like gigantic icebreakers that can hold, I think, 45 people, and we drive all the way onto the glacier, and we were able to like walk on the blue ice. On that day, I wore my Harbin sweater. It's Icelandic round yoke sweater designed by myself. All those sweaters, I think, is in those cabinets. You can probably see the wall garden sweater and my Harbin sweater, so they're there. I took my favorite photo on the glacier wearing my Harbin sweater. Harbin is my hometown in China, so the motifs on the sweater were inspired by my hometown. So right now I have changed my profile pictures to that Harbin sweater photo that was taken when I was sitting on the glacier. It almost looks like I'm floating on mid-air, but like if you look closely, you can see the like light blue, the icy blue background color, and that's actually the glacier. And I also just want to share with you a little bit of the trinkets that I got on the way. I always get some of the magnets for the fridge on my traveling, and this little one is bought from Banff. It's like a sun rays against the Banff town, and this really captures the feeling when I saw the Banff town up over from the Sulphur Mountain. And this one is a little magnet bought on the Columbia Icefield gift store. It is the little icebreaker that we hopped onto that brought us to the ice field. It's very cute. And as for the patterns for this scarf, unfortunately or fortunately, I am planning to write a knitting pattern book. I got in touch with a Chinese knitting publisher, and they are interested in publishing a knitting pattern book for me. So I am collecting of my self-designed patterns, and so I will not be releasing them until it goes into the book. Okay, so that's the first finished object, and keep going. I have another finished object. Ta-da! So these are socks, not designed by me. So these are a pair of cute colorwork socks inspired by the video game Stardew Valley. The pattern itself is called The Sun Can Bend an Orange Sky. The designer is Oakwood Knits. She designed a series of this beautiful colorwork socks. Actually, there are 4 pieces of socks in this series of Stardew Valley. I have knitted the spring version. The spring version is back there on my mood board. And this is the summer version. And there will be an autumn version and a winter version that I'm planning to knit this year as well, in due course. I am so proud of these. They are so pretty. Look at the motifs, the little fish, the beach, the tulip or some kind of flowers, the corn, another flower, the sunflower, the pumpkin, and the cactus in the sand. The original pattern is a sock knitted from cuff down. I converted it to toe up. I knitted, I think, the second size, the size M. But I didn't do the increase for the cuff as she did, because it's just a better fitting for me. So I think I kept in around, it's always 6 to 4 stitches for here and here. And the heel, she did wrap and turn. The short row heel, I converted to German short row heel, but other than that, it's pretty similar. And I have been, since this is my second pair, my control on gauge is much better. And knitting this kind of colorwork socks is all about gauge. My first pair aren't as good, but I've learned my lessons. And in this pair, so I played with the needle sizes, and what worked best for me was when I'm knitting the single colors like the toe and the heel and the cuff, I used my smallest needle that was 2.25 millimeter. And when I'm knitting here, the color work from here, I used my medium-sized needle that was 2.5 millimeter. And when I was knitting closer to the heel, because there's no like gosset shaping, but I have a taller arc in my foot, so I want a little bit more space near the heel. So about 10 rounds below the heel and about 10 rounds above the heel, I used my largest needle that was 2.75 millimeter. And then back here, around the ankle, I went back to 2.5. And then when I'm knitting up to my mid cuff-ish, I change back to 2.75, the largest needle, just to widen the cuff a little bit, because I didn't do the increase of stitches as the pattern, so I make it wider by increase my needle sizes. And that's it. I think it fits my foot very nicely. And in terms of the yarn, it's also the from the Susu Jiejia, the Chinese brand, and it's their Shetland. It's called Shedelan Yangmao, so it's like Shetland wool, but it's not pure Shetland. It's like, I think 75-25. It's 77 the Shetland and 23% nylon. So with the nylon, it's actually pretty good for socks, because we don't usually see a Shetland nylon blend for socks, and that's pretty nice. So it's also cheaper. So I used their yarn for this pair of socks, and I got more colors for the autumn and the winter version of these socks, and I very much look forward to knitting those socks in the season. Alright, so that's the socks. And keep going, I have another finished object, and that's a crochet finished object. It's a very bohemian knitted crocheted hip scarf, and it has a function. It's not like my Euro clothing, it's for hip dancing. So it's a little hip scarf, and which you use to wrap around your waist, and when you're doing the hip dancing, it will exaggerate your hip movements, make your movement looks bigger and nicer. So I registered for hip dancing classes in my community center. I think I've went to 3 classes, and it's the beginner course. I've never done any training in dancing, and I think ballet dancing is very perfect for me. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed moving with the music, and the music is it's a Middle Eastern dance, right? So the Middle Eastern music is very different from my Euro kind of music, and it feels very refreshing to me, and I very much like the energy in the hip dancing. So I look forward to dancing a bit more. And this, I think I looked, as for the pattern, it's like just freestyle. That I looked at like some charts for how to do this kind of mesh. I think I started from the middle and keep doing the triangle. I used some scrap yarn. I think my grandma gave me this orange color yarn, and then I added some tassels, and my classmates and the teacher, they have those specially made hip dancing scarf, and with a lot of metal plates, and I want to replicate that feeling, so I'm attaching some metal beads. Now I bought a bag of beads. I still haven't attaching all of them. It's a lot of work. I've only attached a few, just so that you can it's a bit more dangly. So when I have time, I'll gradually add more of these beads. So it's kind of a work in progress, but it's also finished, and I've been using it for all of my ballet dancing classes. So yeah, very much of an enjoyment. Keep going with finished objects. I have 2 sewing finished objects to show off. So I picked up sewing again recently. I bought my sewing machine earlier this year, and then I was moving places, and now I moved to my new home, and it's so good for sewing, because I have a big wooden table that I can lay out all my tools, fabric, charts and stuff, so it was much easier to work on sewing compared to before, where I have to clean up my desk, do the sewing, and then clean up my sewing and do my work. So now it's very good. So this is the first sewing finished object. It's wool pants. I'll put like a B-roll video on the side of me wearing it. So it's made with like a fake wool fabric. It's probably acrylic. But it feels very warm, and I like the brown, green, dark green color tone, and I like the plaid. I didn't match the plaid perfectly, but I did as best as I can. And it has pockets, it has front pockets, it has back pockets, and it's mostly matched. The plaid is matched pretty. It's okay, like for my skill level. So I'm happy with it. And the back is elasticated, and the front there are some pleats. And it's very autumn vibe. It pairs very nicely with a lot of green sweaters that I own, brown vest, my Farrell vest. So I think it's a nice finished sewing object. In terms of patterns, I use a Japanese sewing book, Kana Standard. And this is my favorite sewing book. It has all the, like, a lot of basic, like, skirt or dress, pants patterns, and it teaches you how to adapt them into different lengths, different width. So you learn the basic structure of one thing, and then you can change them based on your fabric and based on the style that you're aiming for. So I use this white pants base pattern, and I think I cut the length a little bit, but that's about it. Kana Standard, highly recommend. And so I made that pants in 1 week. And I got addicted. Wearing the self-made pants are so good, and sometimes I have this desire for wanting to own more beautiful clothes, and that will cause me to want to buy more clothing, but that's not good because I don't want to spend more money. So I then convert this energy, this desire for things, into creative energy to make more clothing. So I made another pair of pants. It's free. It's basically free. The fabric cost, but it costs significantly less. And I didn't spend time scrolling through shopping websites or Instagram ads. Instead, I spend my time making some stuff. So it's good. So yeah, crafting is good. Crafting is good. So that's the second pants that I made. This is actually free because the fabric is gifted by my mom. She said she picked up the fabric when she was younger, probably traveling to Pakistan. So it's a very Middle Eastern style print with flowers and butterflies, and she didn't remember the component, but it feels very much like silk. It's very flowy, very light, very drapey. I love it, and this print is so beautiful. So I used the same pants pattern as the last one, but I widened the tube, what you call it. So I made it a bit wider. I only have 2 meters of this fabric. I think it's 1.2 meter wide, so I don't have a lot of fabric. So I used everything I could, and there's no waste. So it's pretty good. It has front pockets as well. I didn't do the back pockets because like with this kind of drapey fabric, it doesn't make sense to do those. It's so hard to sew. Silk fabric, oh my gosh, it's so hard to sew. So like normally I don't have a serger, so I use the zigzag line in my sewing machine to make the inside seam, like for this pants. So for the wool fabric is very nice to sew and it's very easy to work on, to use those zigzag lines. But this fabric, I can't do that because the fabric will pucker. And I tried a lot of different ways, and in the end I just used a rolled, I just worked a plain rolled edge. I think I did a good job after some trials and errors. So it's not puckering too much, and I used a tweezers to make the fold all through the way. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's still much faster than knitting. Like with my patience for knitting, this is nothing. This is quick. This is very quick. So I think I finished it in 2 days probably. Like I cut the fabric in one day and then do the sewing in another day. So I think it looks very nice. And with the leftover fabric, I have like some scraps, and I just sew 2 little scarves. It looks very nice. Like when I wear this pants, I usually wear the matching scarf. And even when I'm not wearing the scarf, the pants, the scarf pairs nicely with a lot of things. And I'm going to gift one of this to my auntie, who is a huge fan of this kind of little silk scarf. So she's very happy about it. All right, so that's all my finished object, and let's move on to the whips. So I've showed you the little scarf whip, so I won't talk more on that. And apart from that, I only have one whip for now, and it's a Farrell project. So it's gonna be a Farrell vest. It's my own pattern. The design is inspired by a TV show called All Creatures Great and Small. I highly recommend the show. Season 5 just came out. It's about a vet living in the Shetland area, and it was back in the Second World War era. So it's like sort of like a historical drama, and the costumes in the show features those authentic Shetland style wool knits. So it's a beautiful show with beautiful costumes. One of the character, Tristan, he wore a beautiful Farrell style vest in the show, and I was so impressed by that, and now I decided to replicate that vest. So there it is. Basically, I just looked at screenshots of the show of the character wearing his vest and trying to figure out all those little details, drawing charts, knitting swatches. My swatch is over there in my mood board. That's showing my current knits and stuff. And I think so far I'm doing a good job. The colors are very bright. It's like the fundamental colors, the blue, the red and the yellow, and those are all the colors. I think I have 2 blues and 2 reds, 1 yellow and 1 gray, so 6 colors, so it's not a lot. As for yarn, I use the JIngyi, the Shetland nylon blend yarn. They have a nice colorway, and the price is very affordable. And it's a vest, so I'm knitting bottom up. Sticking will be involved, so I'm knitting up to the armhole now, so this will be the stick line. It's my third time do sticking, so I'm not worried about it at all. I feel like every year there is a sticking opportunity for me. So if you're interested in seeing me doing the live sticking with the sound, like the ASMR of sticking, like cutting through knitting fabric, you can refer to some of my earlier episodes. I think one of my most popular video was about sticking. And I think in my next episode I will do sticking as well. So that will be my the sticking episode of year 2024, and I very much look forward to it. A lot of people say they're scared of cutting, but like for me, once I get my scissors onto the knit fabric, it feels so good. It feels addictive, and I miss the feeling of cutting through knit fabric, that I'm like finding ways to like finding opportunities and ways to get my scissors onto some knitted fabric this year. So there it is. And as for the pattern, it will go to my book, so I don't know when you will see it, but yeah, look forward. Right, that's all my projects, and usually there's a section about acquisition. I don't have much yarn or knitting book acquisition this year, but I have some closely related that I want to share to you. That was some artwork. So I got a 2025 calendar from an artist, Lucy Almay Bird, and also some cards from her. I found her from Instagram, and she had a lot of these like knitting themed artwork that I really enjoy. So this looks like me, because like the girl is knitting and there's cats sitting on her lap, and like that's my usual lifestyle. And there's like reading with cats. I love to read as well, but not actual books. I listen to audiobooks when I knit, and yeah. And then sleeping with dogs and cats. I don't have dogs, but my cats, they sleep with us every night. And some other cards, I've already put them in a frame. So that's that. And the 2025 calendar features some other beautiful artwork as well. But there aren't any knitting related in the calendar, so that's why I bought those cards as well. But it's all very beautiful style, like very cozy. It's oh, and there's bicycle. I love to bike as well, so I very much like her style. And I got the idea of buying calendars of artwork because I bought a calendar, beautiful artwork calendar last year. I got these ones from the artist Laurie Pemberton, and that's my current 2024 year calendar. And this year she published another beautiful calendar for 2025. She published another calendar, and I ordered hers as well. So in 2025 I will have two calendars. She hasn't shipped hers yet, it's pre-order only. So I found her first, and then I found Lucy Almay Bird's. So they are all my cup of tea, my cup of coffee, my ball of yarn. Their artwork all features some beautiful knitwears and very cozy, like very homeward feeling. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I want to chat about with you today. If you like my content, please consider like, subscribe if you haven't, so that you can help more knitters find my videos. And you can find all my knitted projects, notes, designs, patterns on my Ravelry page as Athena Liu, or learn more about my recent knitting progress on my Instagram. And if you'd like to further support me, you can make a donation to me on my Ko-fi page. You can buy my pattern, or I have a lot of free patterns, and you can get them and make a donation on those patterns of the amount of your choice. And mostly I'm just thank you for taking the time to listen to me chatting and babbling. And in the end of my episodes, I usually play a bit of piano. Since today the theme is end of summer, so I'm playing a summer related song. It's from the French Emily movie. The song name is called Comptine d'un autre été l'après-midi, so it's about mid-afternoon in a different summer. There it is. Hope you enjoyed the episode. See you next time. Bye.